Shalom sim racers and auto sports enthusiasts. Welcome to the Harlan Hebrew Simulation Racing Channel. I'm Harlan Hebrew and thanks for tuning in. Today we're doing a tutorial on making the wheel settings for the Thrustmaster T300 for Codemasters F1 2016 season. And as you can see right now we're going to start off in the main menu, and from the 2015 season, if you remember that, you would go to My F1 in order to navigate to the wheel settings. But here in the 2016 season, they're actually giving us 2 points where we can make the adjustments to the wheel settings, which is fantastic. You can do it here in the main menu, and we're going to access that just by hitting the triangle for the game options. Now when we're in the game options, we're going to hit the X button for the settings. Hit the X button again for customize controls. Just remember, customize controls. That's going to be your destination. That's your final destination to get to the wheel settings. So now we're in the customize controls, and here we're going to advanced wheel settings, and we're going to hit the X button to enter into that. And as you can see, mine is already set up. I have my dead zone set to 0 because the Thrustmaster T300 has such a high resolution. You really don't have to set a dead zone, and especially in F1 you want the cars to be more responsive. And as far as your steering linearity goes, you want to set it between, I would say, 75 and about 90 for these F1 cars, because this scale that is based on for the linearity is actually like the increments of steering input. So if you look at the bottom of the page, you can see my steering input. As I start to turn the wheel, you see the steering increase. Now right now my wheel is in 180 degree position. See, now how the linearity affects that is that there are 80 increments within that 100 input. So what that's telling you is that's how precision the wheel is going to be as far as the position of the tires. When you're turning the wheel, it's going to make a gradual turn. So that means that yes, you're going to have to put more turn of the steering wheel in order to get the same effect from the tire response. But the lower you set it, the less precision your steering input is going to be, because just from the default position coming straight out of the box is set to 0. And when you turn that, for example, when you turn that wheel 1 increment, boom. Now when it's set to 0, your wheels are going to be full lock. It's going to be the same as if you had turned your steering wheel to 180 degree full lock, but all you really turned it was just 1 increment, just like that. That's if you set the linearity real low. So basically you only have 2 inputs. It's either straight or it's in the lock, and the higher you set it, the more increments you have. So for example, if you had set it to 4, you would have 4 increments. You would probably have a straight, 25 degree, 50 degree, 75 degree, then 100 degree to full lock. So you're not going to have very precision steering, but it'll be a lot better than it would have been if it was set to 0. But the closer you get this to a 1-to-1 ratio, if you set it to 100, you're going to have to work the wheel a little bit more to get the same response out of the car. So that's why I set mine somewhere between 75 and 90 for F1. The way this game feels now, I would say 80 feels great, and we would navigate out of there. And as far as the steering saturation, I leave mine set to 0. Now what the steering saturation is going to do is going to have, actually, here's the steering linearity. It says to adjust the amount of difference in sensitivity between the center point, which is 0, and the remainder of wheel rotation. A high linearity value makes the center position far less sensitive than the far left and far right extents of rotation. So basically it's saying it's just more increments. It's a finer, smoother progression of the tires on the road. Now, when it comes to the wheel saturation, it says adjust at which rotation is considered maximum lock and scales appropriately. And increased saturation represents an increase in sensitivity. So when you increase the saturation, actually what you're doing is when you turn your wheel full lock, when you turn the steering saturation up, you're still going to have 80 increments, but you're going to get those 80 increments in a less radius of the wheel. So right now my steering saturation is set to 0. When I turn my wheel 180 degrees, I'm on full lock. But if I was to turn my saturation up, if I turned my wheel to 90, it will probably be on full lock. So basically it's just putting those 80 increments in a smaller radius. It's kind of hard to explain. You still have those 80 increments, but you just have to turn the wheel less to get the full 80. But you're still getting that smooth effect of the linearity, but you don't have to turn the wheel as much. Personally, I like to have my steering saturation at 0. You can turn yours up if you like. I guess if you want to turn your wheel up to more than 360, then yeah, maybe you might want to turn the saturation up just so you won't have to work the wheel as much. But for F1, I have my set to 360. Now we can navigate out of this and look at force feedback. Here I have my force feedback set to 86. I like my force feedback strong but not overpowering. I have my environmental feedback, when you're going over grass, you're going through you're going through the sand trap or the gravel area, that's the runoff of the track. I have set to 94, just to let you know that, I want it to be a big difference between the track and what's not the track, the grass or the gravel. So my steering wheel really responds when I hit anything other than, pavement. And the wheel weight, I like it set to about 85. As I said before, I like for it to be strong, but not throwing me out of the chair. I don't want to, I'm 215 pounds. I can handle it, but, I don't want to work that hard. I like to race, for a large duration of the day. So I don't want the wheel wearing me out. Now, you go down to vibrations. I have vibration strength set to about 86. It's strong but not overpowering. And that's relatively it as far as the force feedback is concerned. And you can make small adjustments according to your driving style and your likes. You can have it even lighter, but I would pretty much keep my linearity around 80 and keep that saturation around 0 and set your Thrustmaster wheel to the minimum rotation of about 360 degrees. You do that, within the wheel itself by hitting the mode button, but that's not really indicated within the game, so you would do that outside of the game. Now, as far as going into career mode, it's the other option. You would hit the career mode, whichever career path that you chose, career or pro career, however you do it. Mine is already set, but if you're setting it up for the first time, here it'll ask you to go ahead and set up your avatar. As you can see mine right there, yes, I'm driving with Renault. I'm trying to start from the bottom, but not actually from the bottom, but I just want to work myself through the whole team just to get the feel of the season, and moving around the different teams just to see what that whole experience is like. I had initially drove a few rounds, or a few races on Mercedes, and that was a blast with this wheel and with the T80. But here you would just, either go to start your new career if you haven't started already, or continue career if you've already started it. And here is just going to load, and you can start the session. And from here you can also access the wheel settings within the practice mode. Now that it's loaded, we can just hit the start session, and you can access the wheel from the practice mode, the qualifying, and also the race. So if you start off in the main menu, and you set it to the settings that I suggested, but you might want something a little bit different. Once you start practicing, boom, you can access it right there in the practice, just to get the wheel to feel the way you like it. I'm just going to give you just a quick display
Welcome
of
to
how
Melbourne. We're qualifying for the
going to skip through that. And here, even when you're in the pit box, you just hit the option button on your steering wheel, and you use your pedal shifters to navigate to preferences. Now you're going to use your D-pad and scroll down to customize controls. Go into customize control, and here's your same wheel settings that you can access within practice, qualifying, or the race. As you can see, it's still set to where I set it, and you can turn your wheel and still see everything registering. You still have the same access that you did from the main menu. Everything's the same. Force feedback, boom, that's the same. Vibrations, that's the same. And that's pretty much it. So if this video has been any help to you, I just ask that you hit the like button and subscribe. And I'll see you guys on the grid. Shalom.